Old Hollywood refers to the period in the film industry that lasted from the 1930s to the 1950s. It was a time when they played up its inherent glitz and glamour as much as possible. Several stars who came out of this period are still remembered today, from musical icons like Fred Astaire and Judy Garland to beauties like Lana Turner and Greta Garbo. It's unimaginable to us today that anyone would reject these memorable names, but at the beginning of their careers, this was often what happened. They had to resort to unorthodox methods or just get lucky to achieve their showbiz dreams. Keep watching to learn about the many old Hollywood stars who found fame in unusual ways. Lana Turner. Lana Turner was born in Wallace, Idaho on February 8, 1921. Her father was murdered when she was young, and her mother moved the family to L.A. Lana was discovered while she was in high school. A publisher for The Hollywood Reporter saw her drinking soda at a local cafe. He introduced her to Zeppo Marx, who brought her to MGM's Mervyn LeRoy, and the rest was history. Lana was cast in the 1937 film They Won't Forget and eventually got a permanent contract. Her first role was small, but her beauty and tight-fitting outfits attracted plenty of fans. She eventually became a major sex symbol and pinup girl. Lana Turner died at age 74 in 1995. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was born December 24, 1922, in Smithfield, North Carolina. Ava had a brother-in-law who was a photographer, and he sent her photo to MGM when she was 18. She was studying to become a secretary at the time, but changed her plans when the studio offered her a screen test in 1941. She had no acting experience, but got a 7-year contract because of her beauty. Ava took speech classes to lose her southern drawl and acting classes to get experience. She was too nervous to take on large parts at first, but eventually grew more and more confident. Her breakout role was in the 1946 film The Killers. Ava Gardner died in the UK at age 68 on January 25, 1990. Clark Gable. Clark Gable was born in Cadiz, Ohio on February 1, 1901. He was a worker at a tire factory in Akron in his early years. He eventually saw a play that sparked his dream of becoming an actor. Clark joined a traveling theater that eventually left him bankrupt and without a home in Montana. He hitchhiked to Oregon, where he met theater manager Josephine Dillon, who he eventually married. The couple moved to Hollywood to find film roles. Casting agents initially rejected Clark because of his large ears. His first speaking role was in the 1931 film The Painted Desert. His stellar performance landed him a contract, and he eventually went on to star alongside actresses like Greta Garbo and Jean Harlow. He died at age 59 in 1960. Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn was born in Brussels on May 4, 1929. She visited Holland with her mother and got trapped there when Nazi soldiers invaded. Her family moved to London after the war, where she studied ballet and worked as a model. Audrey was approached by the author of Gigi in 1951. She thought the future actress would be perfect for the lead in a stage adaptation of her novel. Audrey agreed to the role. Her Broadway performance was so entrancing, it almost immediately earned her a part in the 1953 film Roman Holiday. She earned an Oscar for that role, and it helped launch her to stardom. She died at age 64 in 1993. Cary Grant. Archie Leach was born January 18, 1904, in Horfield in the UK. He had an early love for performing and joined a troupe of acrobats at age 14. The group moved to New York, and he decided to stay with them. He appeared on Broadway and was a professional stilt walker until his dreams eventually led him to Hollywood. He failed his first screen test but refused to give up. His second screen test led to a contract with Paramount, but the studio insisted he change his name. Cary starred in over 20 movies in the late 30s. He found major success and became one of the most recognizable old Hollywood stars of all time. He died at age 82 in 1986. Vivien Leigh. Vivien Leigh was born in Darjeeling, India on November 5, 1913. She changed the spelling of her first name and used her husband's first name as a surname. Her first stage role came in the London theatre scene in 1935. She performed in a range of Shakespeare plays there and met Laurence Olivier. They began an affair and traveled to America, where he toured with a stage production crew. Vivien's first film role came when George Cukor, the casting director of Gone with the Wind, met and became impressed with her. He gave her the lead in the now famous film. George received backlash for casting an unknown actress instead of more famous ones like Bette Davis, but most would say today he made the right choice. Vivien earned an Oscar for the part and became a massive star. She died at age 54 in 1967. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Greta Garbo. Greta Gustafsson was born in Stockholm, Sweden on September 18, 1905. She studied at Sweden's Royal Dramatic Theatre, where she was spotted by silent film director Moritz Stiller in 1924. He offered her the lead in the Saga of Gösta Berling. This breakout role made her famous throughout Germany and Sweden. She changed her last name at Moritz's behest. Louis B. Mayer of MGM hired him to travel to America and direct a movie. He agreed on the condition that Greta, who was 19 at the time, could come with. The contract with MGM eventually fell apart, but the film they created, 1926's The Torrent, was a major hit. It allowed Greta to become one of the most glamorous old Hollywood stars. Greta Garbo died at age 85 in 1990. James Cagney. James Cagney was born in New York City on July 17, 1899. He grew up on the streets of Manhattan, fighting and working odd jobs to survive. He wrapped packages and waited tables before finally finding a job in entertainment. He taught himself how to dance by watching vaudeville girls and eventually got a chance to go up on stage in drag. He continued getting small roles as a dancer and eventually got a role in the play Penny Arcade in 1930. Warner Brothers Studios was impressed and asked him to play the role again in a film called Sinner's Holiday. James gave a stellar performance that won him several other supporting roles. He even managed to play the lead in the 1931 film The Public Enemy. James Cagney died at age 87 in 1986. Rita Hayworth. Margarita Carmen Cancino was born in New York City on October 17, 1918. She became a professional dancer at the age of 12. Her family moved to LA and she performed with her father at local clubs. She was spotted by a Fox executive at age 16. He saw her dancing and immediately offered her a contract. Her first film role was in 1935. After that, she changed her name, dyed her hair, and negotiated a better contract. One of her most memorable roles was in the 1939 film Only Angels Have Wings. Rita Hayworth died at age 69 in 1987. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire was born in Omaha, Nebraska, May 10, 1899. He and his sister formed a dance team when they were young. They managed to perform in various vaudeville acts and Broadway shows. He tried his luck at acting, but casting directors had nothing positive to say after his first screen tests. They claimed he could, quote, dance a little, but couldn't sing or act, and was slightly balding. Fred gave up on the idea of acting until years later when his sister left their dance act to get married. He earned a small role in Dancing Lady and a contract with RKO in 1933. He earned a part in Flying Down to Rio that same year, and his expert dancing in that film propelled him to stardom. Fred Astaire died at age 88 in 1987. Judy Garland. Frances Ethel Gum was born in Grand Rapids, Minnesota on June 10, 1922. She began performing before she was 3 years old under the stage name Baby Gum. She joined a stage act with her two older sisters, and the family moved to California. She adopted the stage name Judy Garland at age 13 and began to develop her own career. She began singing on the radio, and it earned her enough fame to get a contract with MGM. She became popular after working with Mickey Rooney in 1938. That led to her undeniably most famous role in The Wizard of Oz. She died at age 47 in 1969. Bette Davis. Bette Davis was born in Lowell, Massachusetts on April 5, 1908. She began to pursue acting as a teen but struggled at first. Her application to New York acting school was rejected, so she briefly joined a stock company instead. She landed roles in several popular Broadway productions and was eventually asked by Universal Studios to screen test. She traveled with her mother to LA, and the executives reluctantly signed her. Bette stood up for herself and refused to change her name or appearance. Her first few movies were flops, and the studio dropped her. That didn't bring an end to her career because she found a breakout role in The Man Who Played God in 1932. Bette died at the age of 81 in 1989. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart was born in New York City, December 25, 1899. His early life involved being expelled from boarding school due to poor grades and being honorably discharged from the Navy. His interest in acting came when he took a job as a company manager on a touring stage production of The Ruined Lady. Humphrey's first stage role was in 1921, where he had a single line. He later played the villain in The Petrified Forest and was hired for the 1936 film adaptation. His career included other villainous characters, but he also shined as a detective in several major productions. He died at age 58 in 1957. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these old Hollywood stars' stories did you connect with the most? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.